Hello, and welcome back to Small Screen Live. I hope you guys are all doing very, very well. We have lots of stuff to talk to you guys about tonight, and I have been told that my Wi-Fi is not very good, so I'm a bit worried about that. But it seems to be okay. But everyone in the chat, do let me know what's going on if I'm cutting out, because I was last week a bit, and I'm sorry about that. But I hope you guys are all doing very well. We've got lots to talk about tonight. We're going to be talking about the recent Flash trailer which just dropped, and we're going to be talking a little bit about that. We're going to be talking about the State of Hollywood Day and just some breaking news stuff as well, and top stories of the week. So I hope you guys are all doing very well. Who is in the chat right now? Right, we've got James, that James guy, just saying yeah. And who else do we have? We have Bobby Anderson saying yay. And Shaun Soundtrack saying hi. I hope you guys are all doing very well. Donovan Martin saying, wonder what the deal is with Argyle. Seems like the book itself got pushed back, yet we don't have any info officially about it, or even a teaser. Yeah, that is an interesting point. Argyle is, I don't know if you recall, a couple of weeks ago, we published an article about Argyle. It's reportedly in some difficulty, and as in, like, I think it's more that Apple can't really figure out how to promote that movie. So we're gonna have to wait and see what happens. I'm really looking forward to it. It's a Matthew Vaughn film. I'm pretty sure it's going to come out. I don't think you should worry about that, but maybe there are some people that are a tad worried about the state of that movie. Fingers crossed it's all right. I'm pretty sure it'll be all right. Right, so shall we get Shaun? Yeah, apparently I'm breaking up a bit again. Literally the minute I start streaming, I don't know why this happens.
Do you have anything running in the background?
No, nothing. Absolutely nothing. I made sure I didn't have anything running in the background, so I don't really know why that happens.
That's because you're afraid of Ethernet cables.
Well, actually, I tried to run an Ethernet cable, but it's too short. So, and I don't like cables, and I have really good Wi-Fi, but StreamYard does not like Wi-Fi. So yeah, there's that. Unfortunately, it's really annoying. But so should we just bring everybody in? Should we bring everybody in? Should we bring Shaun in? Hello, Shaun.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm okay. Apparently, apart from the breaking up thing, it really sets me off. It's annoying because I see there's a little Wi-Fi signal that comes into the box, and it's like, you have poor internet connection. It's like, no, I don't. But whatever.
Also not a fan of cables, but oddly I find StreamYard better than either Zoom or Google Meets. So.
Oh God, yes. Well, it is. Usually it is. Like, especially when you're doing meetings and stuff like that. Yeah. Zoom and Google Meets is especially bad. I remember I've had lots of bad experiences with that thing.
I like Google Meets tells you that they're going to kick you off like 30 seconds before they do it. You're in the middle of a meeting, and then all of a sudden everybody's just gone.
It's quite handy, actually. You're like, I don't want to talk to these guys anymore anyway. Yeah, there is that is a slight problem. And interestingly enough, when it's just me on StreamYard, I seem to have the problem. But then when we bring somebody else in, it seems to be fine. So maybe it's just I noticed that last week as well. When I was on my own without having brought you in, it was not working well, and then when I brought you in, it was all right. It kind of got better.
Yeah, but you opened the door last week. That made all the difference in the world.
Yeah, I can't do that this week because Alessia's watching something. She's watching Two Broke Girls, I think, in the living room.
That may be why you lag when it's just solo. Then someone's streaming in the house.
Maybe that's it. I don't know. I invested in this whole Wi-Fi mesh system because I'm so against wires. So I don't like having wires. So it's not a very big flat, but we still need a Wi-Fi mesh system. Every week we're going to start talking about Wi-Fi issues. But I invested in this. It's called Eero, so it's like an Amazon-owned company. It's supposed to be it's supposed to be brilliant though. So they bought the company, and when I'm working normally, it's great. And when I test the internet connection during the day, it's fine. And then at this time, specifically this time, I don't. Probably it's because everyone's come home, so they're all streaming stuff. I don't know, but I need to talk to my internet provider.
Well, I think what we need to talk about is what did you think of Book of Boba Fett episode 3?
Yes, so it's the brand new thing. There's so much weird stuff that happens with this show every week, and that is one of them. That bloody comment.
Yeah, I'm thinking we should switch platforms, but I just have to do the research on that. I've been doing that the last couple of weeks.
What do you mean switch platforms, James? Well, actually leave StreamYard.
Yeah,
but then we're going to leave this whole like nook of YouTubers that just use StreamYard, and you can tell that everyone uses the same thing. All the famous YouTubers that use StreamYard. There is another one. There's a load of them. But it's odd when it seems to work better for me when I go away, like when I'm in Switzerland or like in the middle of nowhere.
As opposed to when you're home.
Yeah, which is really strange because I pay for very good internet. But then when I'm in the middle of the countryside with no one around, it's working absolutely fine. So it's very odd. Very, very strange. Kazak's having fun with me. Looks like this Amazon product did not deliver background explosion. I think it's good. I think it's worth the money, but it is quite expensive. But of course, it's not working at the moment, so it's probably not worth the money then. But it's annoying. It does annoy me when tech doesn't work. It really frustrates me. And now I'm getting the signal again. It's saying I've got bad signal. I don't know what's happening, and I can't open the door, unfortunately, this week.
Well, that's the show. Edward's Wi-Fi. Thank you very much for joining in.
This is what you come here for. It's this sort of ridiculous chat. Yeah. Should we get right into it then? Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, let's talk about this.
Who is this person, first of all?
Is it Vicky Vale?
That's Bruce Wayne.
That's what I was thinking. It might be Vicky Vale, but
with the long hair.
No, I think it's Bruce Wayne. I think he has a haircut halfway through the beginning of the movie.
You think he's got long blonde rocker hair?
It's not blonde. It's gray. I think it might be gray. I think because I saw this was in a teaser, wasn't it? Before this shot, and I remember at the time there were people talking about who is this. Maybe this Bruce Wayne is not going to have an Alfred, is he?
No,
Michael goes dead.
Yeah, he passed away after the McDonald's commercial.
Yeah, so he's going to be alone. I wonder if he's been alone for quite some time. And you see at the beginning of the trailer, like you can tell there's a shot of Bruce Wayne's hands, or I believe are Bruce Wayne's hands, and they're all bruised and battered. So I'm wondering whether he's kind of just gone completely nuts, and he's just kind of roaming around Wayne Manor, and then eventually Ezra Miller's Flash comes into the picture and kind of forces him out of retirement. Let's say I think he's not been doing anything for quite some time, and then the Flash coming into it.
That's a cool shot. I love how they made the Batwing come through a hole in the cave.
Yeah,
that's good for storage.
It's water, isn't it? Isn't there like a waterfall there?
At the front of the cave, yeah. I think that's a waterfall.
And I think the suit that's very interesting. It's more molded and it's got kind of like a pleatherly feel instead of the heavy leather they used in the first two.
It was rubber in the first two, wasn't it?
Rubber, yeah.
Yeah, rubber, but it had that leather texture.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be leather,
So if they're doing that kind of stuff, then that's basically what Batman was in Batman Beyond, was that he'd lived in Wayne Manor since Alfred died, and he'd driven everybody away from him.
Right. And then this other Flash costume looks like Bruce Wayne made it for this Flash that never had a costume. It looks like it's made out of the Batman costume.
Yeah, it does. The same cowl.
Got the cowl and the 6-pack shingles there and the belt. I think that's
I'm even wondering whether this Barry Allen actually has any powers at all, whether his powers are kind of through the suit.
I think if anything they gave him the powers.
Yeah, there's that scene.
Like either the original Flash So set back time, lost his powers, and then they had to recreate it like in Flashpoint. Or he keeps his powers, and then they recreate the accident to give this Barry of this Earth his powers. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. And I'm thinking that Barry is the one that ends up being the villain of the piece.
Maybe. Isn't there
No,
three,
Reverse
though?
Flash.
Sorry?
3 villains, James said.
No, isn't there 3 Flashes?
Well, that's one of the rumors that was going around to begin with, but I don't know. Judging by the trailers, they haven't really shown any evidence of that.
Well, didn't we see 3 in one picture at one point?
No, we saw the 3 of them.
Oh, right. Okay.
It was the 3 of them. We've never actually seen 3 Barry Allens, and we've only ever seen 2. And I'm wondering whether people have said there are 3 Flashes, but I haven't seen any evidence of that from these trailers. Again, they're not going to show it they're probably not going to show it in the trailers. But my thinking is that there's one Barry, probably the original Barry, that wants Danzig says the toys have shown a Dark Flash.
But I swear we saw a picture with the 3.
Could that be the Dark Flash?
This is what I'm thinking. I think he turns into the Dark Flash. I don't
know. I think it's another Flash we haven't seen, and that's why, because they don't want to.
Maybe. I mean, we're gonna this stuff is all gonna leak now because people have seen this movie at CinemaCon.
Yeah.
Literally today. So we're gonna hear basically the whole plot of the movie. I think is gonna be leaked. Bruce has a dog. Yeah, very good, Danzig.
Ace the Bat Hound. I said that in the meeting, and everybody laughed at me. And then he shows up as a Great Dane in the show. Because Ace in the 50s was a German Shepherd that wore a bat mask.
Yeah. Which Kelly Jones used that dog in his Batman issue 1000. Yeah, when he drew that issue. So it was nice to see that one back. Chrysa says the Flash creates a situation that there's no metahumans. He has to get the second barrier his powers. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
And we see that in the trailer too.
You do see that in the trailer when he's strapped to some chair, and it's the blue lightning that's going into him.
Oh, yeah, and he's screaming.
Yeah. So I think they give him the powers.
That scream sounded funny too.
Yeah. So what was that comment? No, what's with the yellow scheme in one of the first trailers?
Chris says says no. With the yellow scheme in one of the first trailers. See, I swear it was. I have to go back and watch it.
But I mean, I can't quite remember what I need to have watch the first trailer again or the first teaser. But I think the yellow there have been teasers of like a reverse flash or a dark flash. So there probably is a third flash in this somewhere that we haven't seen yet, because Zod's definitely not the main villain of this piece. I think Zod comes
have
into
you seen
it.
Any of the toy leaks or anything?
No.
Yeah, it's pretty well known. There's 3 Flashes. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, there's something that the toy leaks are so annoying. Like Lego and toy leaks, they ruin everything. But yeah, it's something that we haven't seen yet in the promotional material. But yeah, it's probably in the actual.
And that's Henry Cavill, right? Cavill.
It does. Yeah, it does look a bit like him.
I'm pretty sure that's Henry Cavill.
It's either Henry Cavill or it's Ezra Miller.
No, it's I think it's her.
It's not
the one before where they're flying. That one.
She's flying, holding.
She's
Henry
flying.
Cavill.
Oh, Henry. Oh, I see.
Henry Cavill, whatever you say. I say Cavill, but
Cavill, right?
Do you think? I personally, I think that's Ezra Miller.
No, look at the neck muscles, man, and
he's buff. Miller's.
Look at the. No,
you gotta work out to run a cult.
You got a little bit of the Henry Cavill sideburns going there. I'm pretty sure that's Henry Cavill.
I don't know. I'm not convinced they're bringing him back, even for this.
He's in it. He's gonna be.
Is he actually? Has he actually been confirmed to be in it? Because now it's just
confirmed. But I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure that's him. What do you guys say in the chat? Yeah, James thinks I'm trolling. I'm being honest. I'm being honest here.
I agree with you, Kaz. I think he's trolling.
Press 1 in the chat if you think it's Henry Cavill.
I think it's about a version of Barry Allen. Like either the main. I think it might be the main one, so the one from the Earth that we know, and that she's having to revive him.
His neck is not that big, though.
Dude, you have to. He is big. He's a big guy. Well,
But
sorry,
his neck isn't
they
that
are
big,
a
and he
big.
doesn't
They
have
are a big person.
that jawline. So
Yeah. Bobby says she doesn't care. It's just that's very honest.
I'm
very honest.
literally Googling Ezra Miller neck as we speak.
Ezra Miller is a very is buff. You know, they worked out a lot. But yeah, Rodney seems to agree with me. A lot of people saying Barry Allen. I agree. I think it's Barry Allen. I personally think it's Barry Allen.
well, Gal Gadot's going to be in it, right?
Well, that is she?
Yeah.
How's it? Sources?
I can't remember.
See, this is where I could. James, sources. Trust me, bro.
Well, did you vet them? Did you vet the sources?
And
I'm trying to vet you now.
and we're gonna have Burt Ward playing Dick Grayson. Young and the Resting.
That is a very good comment, Kaz. Don't judge a neck by its cover.
Okay, but see, everyone on Twitter, I just looked up the Flash Henry Cavill. Everyone else is thinking that too. I just looked it up now. So
Maybe,
I'm not the only one. I'm not crazy.
No.
We're not. I'm not saying you're crazy. I'm just saying that I don't think. I personally do not think that they're going to have Henry Cavill in this movie.
We'll see.
I'd love it. I would love it if Henry Cavill was in the film. It would make sense. Again, it sounds. I mean, I don't know if you've heard all the rumors that are going around. That is the confirmation. Yeah, I do remember
confirmation, mofo.
But Ben Affleck did say that he did let that slip.
I'm sure Cavill's in it. I'm sure that's him.
I mean, it would be great if he was. The one that I don't know if you've heard any of these rumors, both of you, Shaun and James, but apparently there's going to be a variant version of Superman in this movie.
I haven't heard that.
It's not going to be played by Henry Cavill or Sasha Calle or Brandon Routh.
You say that again?
So there's going to be a variant version of Superman in this film, according to
not any of the three guys who have played him in the past 10 years.
No.
How crazy is that? It's going to be Tim Daly. They're going to have Tim Daly because he did the voice in the animated series.
Bruce Timm.
I want to know if any of you guys can guess who it's going to be.
There's a real superhero body.
No, it's not going to. Rodney P says I can never pronounce his last name. Tyler Hoechlin. No. Dan got it. Cage.
Oh.
The rumor is that it's Nicolas Cage, that he's going to be doing some sort of cameo.
And he will Timothy Chalamet.
That'd be fun.
Well, I think the idea is to bring him in as. I mean, again, it wouldn't. I'm not sure if it would make much sense since. I mean, I'm pretty sure that Michael Keaton's Batman had a Superman, right? That would make sense.
Well, there was the supposedly. Let me think. Supposedly there was a Wolfgang Peterson Superman Batman project that was pitched, and a Donner one about the time Keaton was playing Batman.
But when they're going to make a Tim Burton, wasn't Tim Burton like? There's all the pictures of Cage in the suit.
Yeah, Tim Burton was going to make a Superman movie. Yeah,
with Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, they did a lot of tests on it. A lot of tests on it.
So it would track that then Nicolas Cage would be that universe's Superman.
Wow, what can I say?
I think it should be George Reeves. I think they should CGI George Reeves into it the way they did Peter Cushing.
That'd be cool. That would be cool. Dean Cain. God, no.
Dean Cain, no.
No, not that guy.
Brandon Routh would be good.
Well, there have also been rumors that Brandon Routh's going to... Basically, everyone's going to be in this movie. But if you're going to look at the rumors, you've got the possibility of George Clooney, of already Ben Affleck's in it. We know that. Basically, I think I have a feeling this is going to be a bit like the DC's version of Spider-Man: No Way Home, where a lot of people turn up.
Yeah,
and it's kind of going to end everything that came before, and then kind of give them a clean slate. to start with Superman Legacy, which will be the first kind of DC universe film. And they've also, the other rumors, again, this is all rumors. The other rumor is that there is going to be an Arrowverse, and like a major Arrowverse cameo in it. I didn't really want to.
I'm not shooting on you.
The Arrowverse cameo. Now, a lot of people have been like thinking, "Oh, it's Grant Gustin." I don't think it's Grant Gustin, even though it has been said that Grant Gustin is going to be turning up in this film. But CBR.
He denied it, but I don't believe it.
Sorry?
He denied it, but I don't believe it.
Yeah, well, of course he's going to deny it. It would it kind of would make sense for him to turn up in it somehow.
Well, Ezra turned up at the end of Crisis.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. So Speed Force has cameos galore, including a CW connection in a Dream cameo. Apparently, this is, and Zack Snyder's Justice League references appear to be removed.
John Wesley Shipp, please.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
that's the one I was thinking. That it might be him. So
as the Golden Age Barry Allen with the helmet.
As the Golden Age Barry Allen.
That made me so happy when they did that on the TV show.
Best thing about that TV show.
Yeah. the best scene in the entire show is the first time they go to Earth 2, and the first thing the two guys do is take selfies.
Yeah, there were some good moments in that show. There were some very good moments, and especially if you're a fan of the Flash character, I think it did some good stuff.
Yeah.
Chris Kemp saying Stephen Amell was a great Arrow. He was a great Batman, basically.
Yeah,
He was playing in that show.
Wow. Well, Edward got it out before I could say it.
Yeah. It's not really Green Arrow. He's Batman.
Those early CW shows was like, we're going to do Arrow. What's he going to be like? He's going to be like Batman.
Yeah.
Now we're bringing back the Justice Society, led by Hawkman. What's he going to be like? He's going to be like Batman.
They were really desperate to do Batman.
Yeah.
They just they did everything they could.
There's a Titan. There's a big Titans crossover episode. Is it crossover with the CW? Chris put in the comments.
I'd imagine so.
I know I gave up halfway through the season before last, so I have to catch up.
Yeah, I've completely given up on those shows. I might end up watching like the final season of The Flash.
Doom Patrol I saved, so I need to binge that.
Yeah.
So but I want to watch the first 3 seasons again before I watch the last season.
Oh my god. I watched the first season of Doom Patrol. I thought it was good. I thought it was one of the best things that have come out of these shows. But I don't know why I just didn't continue watching it. It's just so much stuff to watch.
Because you didn't give enough chance. Season 2 and 3 are amazing.
I don't think it's not that. It's actually really difficult to get a hold of.
Over there
in Europe.
Is it?
Yeah, it's just not on anything. I think it was on. I don't have network television here, so everything I watch has to be on streaming, and it's not on streaming anywhere. So already I'm trying to watch. Okay, there's a show that I've just got into, which I know I shouldn't have, but I did when I was in Switzerland. I found that The Rookie was available to stream on Netflix, which is not available anywhere else in Europe.
How far are you into it?
So I'm a big Nathan Fillion stan.
Yeah.
I'll watch anything with him in it.
How far are you into it?
You're dead to me. You're dead to me. You're all dead to me now.
I know. We spoke about this last week, I think, because I was in the middle of watching it. But yeah, Nathan. So I'm at the very end of season 1. So
okay.
There was quite a big kill.
We stopped end of season. We watched the first couple episodes of season 4. Spooky can clarify if she's in the chat still. But yeah, I enjoyed the show, and then it just again, it's, I guess like you with Doom Patrol, it's so many things to watch. Now they're at like season 5, season 6. Just
that's how I was with Doom Patrol. James and I talked about it a lot, and I watched the first 2 episodes. I was blown away by it. I love the original 60s Doom Patrol book. When I was in my 20s, I hunted all those down. It's the only book I've ever like really worked at getting together, because this is before reprints, and I just love the fake pop culture hipness of it, and I loved the way they ended the first Doom Patrol story. They sacrificed themselves to save 15 people, and the world never knew what happened to the Doom Patrol. For the 60s, good God, that's like such a huge conceptual idea.
We should try and finish the first season because it kind of emulates that ending.
Oh, does it?
Mm. That's really good. You get a giant rat.
I don't think I even finished the first season.
I tapped out after the Cyborg episode because I think that actor is just horrible.
He gets better.
You have to.
Better.
Seems to be a common theme with cyborg actors.
We need somebody to play someone who's half robot. I've got the guy.
His name is Patrick Stewart, Locutus of Borg.
Apparently, you weren't here last week to talk about Star Trek, James. So Shaun had to do it on his own.
Yeah, I was not. It was amazing.
I finished it. I finished it. I watched Star Trek Picard is the first Star Trek I've watched all the way through since Deep Space Nine.
That's good. Well, did you watch? So you watched the first 2 seasons?
Yep.
Good. You didn't need to watch the first 2 seasons. You just need to watch the third, and you're good. Did
you watch Deep Space 10?
No.
And,
yes, and Deep Space 69.
69.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I sometimes think they just come up like the new movie is going to be called Section 31. Is that right?
Yeah, the Michelle Yeoh thing.
That's like the MI6 or the CIA of the Starfleet.
Okay.
And,
I just think they come up with random names. They're like,
no, there is a Deep Space 10. They mention it in Star Trek Online.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm just looking forward because I like that they're bringing Michelle Yeoh back. I tapped out on Discovery like when they killed her halfway through the first episode. I was like, well, you guys obviously don't want me watching this.
You know what? The thing that kept me on board with that show for the entirety of the first season, because I gave up after that, was Jason Isaacs. I thought he was very good in that show. So he plays the captain / villain, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Discovery.
I do like him a lot.
Yeah. He's really good.
The first season, and I gave up. I was like, no thanks. And then I watched Strange New Worlds, and it caught me up on Discovery, and I was fine. And Strange New Worlds was such a better Trek show than Discovery.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, it's still something that I need to get into because it Deep Space 69 pause. Nice. Yes, that was a very good joke, wasn't it, James? It was worth it.
Sexual advances.
Yeah, that was a very interesting interview with him.
It was.
Yeah.
I talked to him 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
Nice.
Got to get him back on.
Yeah. But it's my Star Trek knowledge. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not there. It's just one of my things.
I'm used to it by now. It's fine. It's your loss. Your loss.
It is my loss.
Star Trek girls.
But he's married.
Yes. Yeah. Well, so
she definitely does not like Star Trek. It's difficult trying to get her to watch anything Star Wars related. And I think Star Trek is even I would say it's more. It's not more. Well, it is geekier, I think, a bit than Star Wars in a weird way. It's more. I think it's a bit more obtuse.
Just because it's longer. Just because there's been more. Give Star Wars time. James, what are you doing? It looks like you're flying a TIE fighter there.
Stay on target. Stay on target.
But is it really more Star Trek than Star Wars now? Because you had like the Clone Wars, the Bad Batch.
So,
okay, TOS.
TOS is 72 episodes. Next Generation is 7 years of shows. Deep Space Nine, 7 years of shows.
I was getting there. Don't worry.
Voyager, 7 years of shows.
I was going to say all this, but yeah.
Aren't there like 60 Star Trek movies as well?
There's like Enterprise.
Yeah, Enterprise, but that was 3 seasons, right?
Yeah, 4.
4.
Yeah, and then there's Discovery, and then Strange New Worlds, which is only 1 season, soon to be 2, and then Picard, 3 seasons. And
Lower Decks.
Then you have Lower Decks. You have Star Trek Prodigy, right, with Janeway. And then with Star Wars, and then the movies, you have 10 movies from Star Trek.
Yep.
Yeah, the Star Trek wins.
And then you have the new Trek, right, which is those 3 movies.
I'm actually really excited that they're bringing Finn back to Star Trek.
with Ray.
Like with John Boyega. John Boyega is going to be playing Finn in Star Trek.
I watched Attack the Block yesterday again. Such a good show.
Oh, it's so good, so good. He's so good in it too.
I need to talk to her about it. But my mum dated someone that was in a Star Trek show.
Yeah,
I can't remember which actor it was, but it was one of the actors that was in Star Trek. She didn't go down that route in the end. She found someone else, but that was a brief romance. I need to ask her which actor it was. I think he was in Deep Space Nine.
Was it Cisco?
I can't remember.
Renee.
She makes fun of it. She's like, "Oh, he was probably just the janitor in the show, just cleaning the floors in one scene." But he was in multiple episodes.
Danzig says they need to boot out Kurtzman and put Terry Matalas in charge. I agree, but it seems like Terry Matalas is working with Kurtzman a lot. Danzig and Kurtzman's seen the light through Terry Matalas with this great reception of season 3 of Picard. So I think they will work more in tandem. I just hope Terry Matalas becomes a showrunner, and I hope they get to do Star Trek Legacy with 7 of 9 and Picard's son.
See, this is the interesting about Star Trek. Interesting thing about Star Trek for me is that I think that the fans are constantly at each other's throats because
any franchise.
It seems to be like even more with Star Trek.
Well,
because I've heard some people be really positive about Star Trek Picard season 3, and other people just laying into it and hating everything.
But those aren't true Star Trek fans. Sorry,
it's like Robert Meyer Burnett was someone that I saw. Actually, I think he liked the final season of Star Trek, but he has been very vocal about not liking this new Star Trek.
Well, he didn't like Discovery, and he didn't like the first 2 seasons of Picard, but he loves the 3rd season of Picard. The thing is, I talked to all my friends who I grew up with and all my friends who are big Star Trek fans, big Next Generation fans. They all loved season 3 of Picard. Everyone in the Star Trek group I run with, EJ, they all loved it. It's just like websites like Red Shirts Must Die and the Trek movie. They're writing articles so they can get those clicks. Like they said, Star Trek Prodigy, or Star Trek Picard ripped off Prodigy's ending, and they're just. Well, but that's like a small section of the fandom. I think mostly it's been more positive from the actual real Trek fans. If you see a Trek fan being a troll or being a jerk online, then they obviously don't get Star Trek and what Gene Roddenberry is trying to emulate for the human race.
The first 3-4 episodes of Picard lifted a good deal from Wrath of Khan.
Yeah. Well, just like Nemesis did, and the new Trek with Chris Pine, the first one, they have to go hide in a nebula. They always have to hide in a nebula. But I mean, you're gonna take what works and put it in. I'll give that a pass.
Chris Hemsworth is Chris Pine's dad, right?
Yeah. They were gonna make a film out of that, and then he just blew up.
Yeah, I've got other things to do.
Yeah.
I actually think that they had problems with the billing on that. Like, I remember at the time when they were talking about that movie, the 2 Chris's couldn't work out who would be the lead in the movie. Because I think at that point it was Chris Hemsworth wanted a bigger role and a bigger salary.
Oh.
And then Chris Pine wanted a bigger role and a bigger salary. So in the end, I think the movie just imploded because of that. Even though when Chris Pine talks about it, he's always a bit like, yeah, I still really want to do it. But I don't know. He's now in the Dungeons and Dragons realm, and that movie's been doing pretty well. So that will probably get a sequel.
Yeah.
Well, and he was holding. The 3rd one was being held up because of Pine's salary demands, right?
Yes, it was that, and then they ended up. So that was the film that was written by Simon Pegg.
Yeah, and it's supposed to be, or they're at least in pre-production on some 3rd Star Trek movie with that cast now.
That's not going to happen anymore. I don't think.
That's the problem. Now that this Michelle Yeoh movie has been greenlit, I'm wondering whether they're just going to go down that route and just keep on. Because I mean, Michelle Yeoh is an Oscar winner, but she'll still be a lot cheaper than Chris Pine.
Well, she's an international star. I mean,
yeah, that's the other thing, and it's like, I think that I that's the Star Trek that I know is the Chris Pine Star Trek movies, because that's what I know. But that's the first. That was my introduction to Star Trek. I'd never watched anything other than that. Apart, Then I ended up watching Discovery and a couple of episodes of Picard. But it really feels like that's the end of it. With 3, the third one was it Into Darkness was the second
Into
one.
Darkness was the second one.
Was it?
Wasn't it?
Oblivion. Don't know.
Isn't it funny that Chris Pine demanded a huge salary for Star Trek 4, and then he went and made a bunch of movies for Amazon and Netflix, directed digital, and then he finally started acting properly again and did Dungeons and Dragons, from what I hear.
And then Steve Trevor, he was Steve Trevor in 2 movies.
Yeah.
He's actually very good in Don't Worry Darling, where he plays basically his character's Jordan Peterson, and he's very good at that. That film isn't brilliant. There are problems with that movie, but I really like the performances in that film. Florence Pugh's amazing, and I even thought that One Direction guy, what's his name, Harry Styles, was pretty good in that.
Really?
Yeah, people gave him a rough time for that movie, but I remember thinking he's fine in this film. Like, I think he's absolutely fine. I think he's actually quite a decent actor. He's good. He's good in Dunkirk, and he was good in that.
Yeah.
So yeah, don't be mean. Don't be mean. He's trying his best.
Dunkirk is like a slow movie, but I'm a big fan of it for some reason. I really like it.
I haven't seen it.
I love Dunkirk. I think it's a great film. Yeah. Oh, that bloody thing's pops up again.
What?
Wi-Fi connection on my thing. I don't know
You're
why.
fine.
It's pretty. All right. Yeah. The Dunkirk. My dad hates Dunkirk. That movie. He's a real. I think I said this last week. He's really into his World War II. Everything and anything about World War II. And if anything's not quite accurate enough for him, he'll start getting. He's like a Star Trek troll, basically. He'll start getting very annoyed. And he is like, Dunkirk was completely inaccurate. It's like, no, this wouldn't have happened. That would have happened. I had a big talk with him the other day about 1917, which was the Sam Mendes war film. Which again, I was like, I really loved that movie. I had a great time with it. And he's like, it's completely and utterly inaccurate. It's like, and I was like, well, it's the First World War, so why are you so bothered about it? And he's like, no, but this would have never happened. It's like, of course, they said it would have. It didn't happen. It was like a story that his grandpa told him that was probably all made up anyway. So. Yeah,
my dad was a World War II veteran of the Pacific campaign. He was at Guadalcanal and all those places with the Marine. He used to watch those Hollywood movies, which he never saw because he was at war, and just laugh, just like this. No, nobody does this shit. This is just the dumbest crap. What the fuck?
It's like, fuck it, you know. I mean.
There was
I'm
one
bringing
thing.
them back, baby. I'm bringing them back.
Yeah, you're bringing them back. I remember my dad really loving Band of Brothers and The Pacific, actually, which is the show that came after that.
The first episode of The Pacific is literally like sitting down and having a conversation with my father. He told me all that stuff in there was all stuff that he was there for.
Yeah, but this is the thing. I think anything that Steven Spielberg does that's war related, my dad seems to love. Like, he loves Saving Private Ryan. He loved Schindler's List. You know, he's a filmmaker that seems to be very good at kind of making something cinematic, but also relatively accurate to how it would have been like being there. Like, I think my dad goes on about the Normandy beaches scene at the beginning of not Band of Brothers, Saving Private Ryan. He's like, that was just the most incredible bit of filmmaking ever. I was like, yeah, you just love it because you love the Second World War. But then
there's newsreel footage from the beach, from the landing, that's very, very close to that.
But I think that's what Steven Spielberg does. He watches that. It's the same with Schindler's List. A lot of people, I think the whole like making of that movie is fascinating.
If you want an accurate Western, Edward, go watch Magnificent Seven.
With the original, yeah, because I you know what, I've watched the Chris Pratt version.
I watched 4 minutes and I turned.
I haven't watched the original. It's so bad.
The remake is not as bad as it could have been. That's what I'll say.
The original is one of my favorite films of all time. It's such an accurate Western. It's exactly how they lived and talked and how the camaraderie was. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, Dan Dig makes a good point. Did my dad watch All Quiet on the Western Front? No. This is the film I've asked him time and time again. Have you watched that movie yet? He's like, no. I've heard so much good stuff about it, but I don't know if I can watch it. I think you'll love it. I think that's another fascinating film written by a former Olympian. I think she's an Olympia. She was an athlete and knew nothing about the Second World War, but wrote a very, very good script. Yeah, that's a film I'm gonna have to see at some point. Apparently, it's amazing. Yeah, and Danzig's never watched The Great Escape. Well, you should watch The Great Escape.
Back.
Oh,
and we haven't really had an answer. But now, yeah, we're thinking we're back.
You just like interrupting, don't you, James? By the
way, watch The Great Escape and then go find the book it's based on. But don't do it in any other order than that.
The Great Escape is a great movie. Yeah, I love that. In England, it's a Christmas movie, which is a bit weird.
Is it really?
It's just on at Christmas.
How do you guys feel about Colditz?
About what?
Colditz.
Colditz.
Colditz. There's been like 2 British TV series about it and a movie.
This is going over my head. I've never heard of this.
Colditz is a castle in Germany where it was like Luftstalag 17, where the Great Escape is based on, and it's where they decided they were going to put all the incorrigible escape artists. And it was a castle on top of a mountain, and they stuck all these guys there and thought, okay, now they're going to be safe. And these guys figured out how to build a glider.
Really?
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Ah. And they made series and movies out of this story.
Yeah, it was mostly British and French prisoners of war, and the dramas about it. But then the stuff about the glider came out, and there's one existing picture of it, and then the PBS did a Nova thing where they rebuilt it to try and see if it actually would have flown. Because by the day they were going to launch it was the day they were liberated. Colditz isn't on top of a mountain?
Apparently not, according to Johann Rottenauer. Sounds like he might know. Yeah, but The Great Escape is one of those movies that tends to be on every Christmas in the UK. A lot like James Bond movies, they tend to be on ITV, which is a British broadcasting channel. Yeah, and the other one that we watch a lot at Christmas what's it called? What's his name? James Stewart. It's a Wonderful Life. That's it.
Oh.
Jimmy Stewart. What do you want me to do? You want me to lasso the moon? I always thought James Stewart sounded a bit like an old grandmother.
I love his voice.
Not when he was younger. Colditz is on top of it. Colditz is on a hill overlooking a town. I'm looking at a picture of it, right? Colditz Castle right now.
But it's not a mountain.
Yeah, not a mountain. You are correct. Yes,
it is not technically a mountain. It is actually a small hill.
Yeah, it's on top of a hill overlooking the town. So it was hard to get to it, which was the point, was to keep them up there.
You know what? I've never been able to work out. What is a grassy knoll? Yeah.
It's a knoll. That's
what's a knoll?
It's also not a mountain.
See, it's not. What is it? It's just a small mound.
Yeah, it's just like a small roll.
Small hill or mound.
Small mound. There you go. That a nice Google search has worked that one out. Yeah. It's the joke that I like to bring up sometimes, and Americans find it funny. What is a grassy knoll? Yes, let's promote this. What is this, Shaun?
This is my friend Craig and Todd's book. If you don't know the Perhapanauts, you should look it up. It's they're paranormal investigators having a lot to do with creatures like cryptids, and there are cryptids on the team, and it's a lot of fun. It's a great series, and on Kickstarter right now they're doing raising money to do their second volume of their cryptid field guide. from Bedlam, which is the organization. If you don't know these guys, Todd DeZago worked a lot at DC, a lot at Marvel, and co-created this. And Craig Rousseau's worked a lot at DC, a lot at Marvel. He's currently doing or just finished, I think, Young Hellboy. And it's just great stuff. So I wanted to just tell you guys to take a look at it on Kickstarter.
I was going to say his artwork would really suit Hellboy. Actually,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, he did some Batman Beyond stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah. So,
but they've already gone over their the amount that they need, right?
yeah, they did it. They did it in the first 24 hours, I think.
Yeah. Okay, so
Links in the chat.
Yeah,
Go
check that out.
backwards.
Thank you, James.
No problem.
Done
And,
very well.
Speaking of Batman Beyond, we had someone on Twitter say that. What would they say?
Oh,
Studio-
that Ghibli had worked on the world's finest episodes of Superman. Is that right? That's right.
Yeah, it was the movie.
Well, that was 3 episodes of
Yeah.
the show. We produced it as 3 episodes of the show, and then Home Video released it as a movie.
I think it was more just like the person wrote it that way to get people talking, because they later clarified that it was a company underneath Studio Ghibli, and it was TSM.
No, TMS, Tokyo Movie Shinsha. Koji Takeuchi is the president of it. We had a deal with them when I moved over to Superman. They were doing, I think, a third of the episodes, so we were basically treating them as a third crew, and they were also animating them. They would board them and animate them from us. And TMS is one of the best studios in the world. So we were really lucky that they didn't have a lot of work, and they were interested in sort of breaking into the American market as doing pre-production instead of production. Because Japanese companies, they need American studios like they need gonorrhea. They've got so much work, and so much stuff goes over there. They don't need American money, so they do it if they have time or they like it. So they did most, if not, I mean, it's been a long time, so I don't remember exactly, but they did most, if not all, of the 3 World's Finest episodes, boarding and animating them.
So it was just the animators that had worked for Studio Ghibli, but they were working for TMS?
Yeah, I think what happened was that TMS had a little bit extra work, and they then they could handle, and Ghibli probably had some people free, and so they just traded those people for a while. I don't think, I mean, I could be wrong, I wasn't there, but I don't think any of the work was actually done at Ghibli.
No, I didn't think so.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, I went there, and Koji took me and a couple of other people to Ghibli to meet Miyazaki a couple of years later.
Oh, nice.
Nobody talked about that. We got to see they were in production on Monoke, and got to see Digital Ink and Paint, which we were trying to get more into. And Miyazaki screamed at me for something that somebody had done on Batman the Animated Series before I even worked at Warner's. So I've been yelled at by Miyazaki.
That's awesome. That's off the bucket list.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive. It took us upstairs to his rooftop garden where he keeps his Triceratops skull. And then took us to the room where he has all his he's got a room full of Totoro merchandise. But Totoro isn't, it's got shelves like these, the whole length of it. And Totoro is not his favorite movie he's done, and he doesn't hate it, but he doesn't understand why it's the one that everybody loves so much. So he's got a room honoring it, and with all the merchandise on it, but it's facing away from his work area. And the way they've got the studio set up is really interesting. It's a huge, it's probably different now, but because we were just starting to get digital things. But the animation room is a huge room with a huge U, and everybody has a workstation on the U, and they do it and they pass it to the next person, and Miyazaki sits at the end and gets everything.
Nice. That's a good workflow.
Yeah.
What was his favorite movie that he did?
Pocoroso.
I like that film.
He's really into airplanes and aviation, especially World War II.
Well, that's kind of what The Wind Rises was all about as well. It was about aviation.
Right. Yeah. Like Dan. So Dan, when I was there, was before Spirited Away. It was during. They were doing ink and paint on Monoke. They were working on Monoke, and I got to see the way they were doing the ink and paint on the animation cells, because they weren't doing cells. So it was before Spirited Away. I mean, it was really impressive. And the most embarrassing thing was that out of all the Warner executives that were there, I was the only one who knew who Miyazaki was.
Oh God.
Sounds about right for Warner's.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, I don't think Studio Ghibli's ever made a bad movie. Porco, yes, it does. It has a very good French dub. Yeah, Jean Reno. Yeah, it works perfectly actually. Jean Reno as Porco Rosso works really well.
He works perfectly in everything.
Yeah, he does.
He's even great in Fish Boy movie.
But this is the other thing I heard. I know I haven't actually seen the Super Mario Bros. Movie in French. I saw it in English.
I haven't seen it. No spoilers.
I'm not going to spoil anything. Don't worry. The princess is saved. But
I already heard that joke today.
But apparently the French dub is better than the English dub.
That's what really.
That's what a lot of people are saying. And the thing is, funnily enough, watching it for me, I wasn't, after like the first minute, I kind of just was like, yeah, it's fine. You can hear that it's Chris Pratt, but it kind of, I think it's kind of in the French version. I think you might miss a bit of Jack Black as Bowser, because he works very well as Bowser in that movie. There's a lot of Jack Black in Bowser, a lot, and it's not off-putting like it was in The Mandalorian.
Edward, have you seen
an article?
I'm sorry.
Well, you wrote an article, Edward, about how the trailer was so much better in French.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So, yeah, that doesn't surprise me. You called it first.
Yeah. Edward, have you seen Le Visiteur?
Le Visiteur, with Jean Reno. Yeah. I've seen the first one. I don't think I've seen the second one.
The second one. The second one actually is much better than it
I've
has
heard
a right to be.
I've heard. I've heard it's quite good. Yeah.
And then they made the American version, and they kept Renault and Christian Clavier, and they still managed to fuck it up.
Yeah. Do that a lot.
Danzig says that people were asking who Miyamoto was on the red carpet. That is sad.
That is true.
How can you not recognize? He's everywhere. He's been on
Yeah. It's sad, but it's also you wonder who the hell they're sending to these red
right.
carpet.
Right.
Yeah.
And how are they preparing them?
They did that. The people they sent, and I noticed this, a lot of the people they sent, it's like, what are you doing? Like, why are you sending this person? They clearly have never played a Mario game in their lives. That's, if it was me, and I was hopefully one day, the editor that was able to send people to those sorts of events, you ask if you've ever played a Mario game before. If it's that, it's like, because these people, that's going to be the main question. Oh, Sean's dropped out. But yeah, it's it's really abrupt. and when you get rid of the white noise machine, it kind of really is off-putting in a weird way.
I don't have headphones, so I can't hear it.
Yeah.
Should I bring him back in?
He's back. Yeah, bring him back. Yeah.
I got excited. I was sending you guys information. I got excited.
Yeah, but you do wonder. Is this? You said to. This place looks amazing.
It's a youth hostel now.
Coldest Castle is a youth hostel. Wow.
Or at least part of it is.
Oh.
Is that why you were there, Johan? Was it to go to the? I'm not making a joke. I'm literally asking. Was it to go to the hostel there?
Probably was. Yeah. That's why he said it's not a mountain. I've walked up it. It's a hill.
Yeah. Well, only €31
a night. God, that's cheap. Bed and breakfast.
Let's go and let's go and let's build a glider. We've got an American, a Canadian, and a British guy living in France. We've basically got the Allied forces back together again.
You guys going back and forth is really killing my time code upkeep here.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah. We got Danzig asking, wait, Edward, you'll be pleased. My son went to see the Three Colors trilogy 4K re-release. Ooh. Was that at the Prince Charles? If that was at the Prince Charles Cinema, probably. I'll be very, very, very jealous. That's a great cinema. Okay, Johan's got an answer for us, guys.
Okay. Thank you, Johan.
I went there by car with friends, slept in a hotel in Leipzig. Oh, okay. All right, not so cool. You should have stayed in the actual place.
If you guys ever get a chance, look up the episode of Nova about Colditz, and it's about how they built the glider and all the other shit they did to escape, like the stuff what they built out of milk cans and the way they took they took the heels of shoes and turned them into stamps to make Nazi markings on fake passports. It's amazing.
You see, the more you talk about this story, the more I think I've actually watched something involving this, probably with my dad, when I was very young.
And he was talking about how inaccurate it was.
Probably. I don't know.
And he was hanging out with my dad, who was laughing. Nobody shoots a gun like that. What?
But then again, The Great Escape is very inaccurate, and he still loves that movie.
Yeah.
So.
Does he really?
Henry Cavill is in The Flash.
And Henry Cavill. You're making me say it wrong now. Cavill, Henry Cavill.
Did you get some?
My plan.
Did you get some confirmation there, James?
Yeah,
Henry himself.
No,
he's playing Warhammer at the moment.
The two trolling dads and Cavill from The Flash.
And Cavill, and we got the information from Cavill's nephew, who's at school telling everyone that his uncle's Superman.
Yeah, that is true, isn't it? He does do that as well.
He built my PC for me.
He painted my miniatures.
There you go, it's the evil version of Henry Cavill.
We are in the dark timeline, after all.
That's right.
Yeah. So yeah, that movie, The Flash, will probably be the last time. It probably will be the last time we get to see Henry Cavill as Superman and Ben Affleck as Batman. Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. I'm not so sure. I do wonder whether she will come back. Even though I don't know if you've heard, but people want Ana de Armas to play Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah,
I did see the news today that they're saying that there are plans for Static Shock now.
Yes,
DCU.
Yeah,
They're gonna call you. They're gonna call you, Shaun.
Your lips to God's ears.
Yep.
Yeah.
With the writer's strike coming up, or everybody afraid of the writer's strike in the next week, nobody's doing everything. Everything is slowed down to a crawl here.
Yeah, we're gonna get all the TV shows are gonna be bad. Like Heroes went bad after the writer's strike.
You know what's gonna happen? They're just gonna use ChatGPT to write everything. It'll be crazy. It'll be the craziest.
That's part of what they're negotiating for, is to limit the use of AI in television shows.
Good.
You guys are too young to remember the writer's strike of 88 or 90. You guys don't know about that, right?
No, not that one.
CBS went back into production on Mission Impossible, did a new cast, and just used scripts from the 60s. Just reshot scripts that they already had.
That's smart.
Works.
Corner of the market.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Danzig. Full Circle event this weekend.
Full Circle. Yes. That's the Snyder Con. Literally.
Oh.
It's
literally Snyder Con.
The Snyder Con.
Yeah.
There's not going to be huge announcements or anything. It's just going to be a celebration of the movies. And he's going to advertise Rebel Moon. That's what it's all about. It's all advertising for his new property.
Yeah. He'll be there being like, hey, it's my new movie, Rebel Moon. And everyone's just going to be like, I want to see Zack Snyder's Justice League 2. Give me the number 2. I don't care about your new shit.
That would be great, wouldn't it? It's like, we don't care about Rebel Moon. We want more Justice League. Get this shit away from us.
He's digging himself into a hole, I think, of it with that fandom.
Well, honestly, I wouldn't say digging himself in. When Zack Snyder's Justice League came out, they had a contract so he could do 3 theater events, right? 2 or 3 theater events. So this is part of the contract
Is it?
To play BVS and Zack Snyder's Justice League and Man of
yeah.
Steel, and it's just and he saved them so he can promote Rebel Moon. I mean, I think he did this for when Army of the Dead came out, so now he's doing it for Rebel Moon, and then probably when Rebel Moon 2 comes out, he will do it again. So, I mean, every ad that comes out for it, the fans are deciphering it, saying, "Oh, this letter means this," and it comes to sell Zack Snyder's Justice League. And
it's a very small section of the fandom. As Johan says, he cares about Rebel Moon. I care about Rebel Moon.
I want to see Rebel Moon.
I want to see it. I just hope the second one they call it Rebel Moon Part 2. And then I'll be very much on board.
Rodney asks, "Did we watch Zack's interview with the Russo brothers?" I haven't watched it yet. It's very long. You watched it, Edward?
Yeah. Well, we wrote about it. He was talking about how TV is like the new interesting medium and the new risk. People are taking more risks in TV than they do in movies.
That's true.
Talking about how like a show like Euphoria would have never been made as a movie. Like it would have never got past the script phase.
Same with Atlanta. Yeah.
Atlanta, and there was another show that he talked about that I can't remember what it was, but it made me think that he's looking at the TV medium as something that he could work in, and it's what the Russo brothers are doing. I mean, their new shows just landed on Amazon. Citadel, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
With Richard Madden and is it? I can't remember who the actress is in it. I'm thinking it's one of the Jonas brothers' wife.
Oh yeah, it's Chopra Jonas. Yes, it is. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The woman that was trying to sell cream that made you look whiter to Indians.
You lie.
That's true. It's 100% true. She got into trouble for that. Yeah. But
Mindy Kaling takes baths in it.
God.
You know, TV is more money than features. It doesn't seem that way because people get those huge upfront checks for features. But TV is if it's popular, it goes on for a long time, and you keep an income stream going from the show. Not like it was pre-streaming, but I'm pretty sure people are working on that.
Yeah, everyone should get residuals for streaming, but unfortunately,
well, you do, but they're minuscule.
Yeah,
because especially Netflix is so tight with their analytics.
Yeah, and it's also the unions have not moved that fast on this stuff.
It's the Wild West.
I mean, why else do
you think? If you want an accurate Western, Edward, then go watch The Magnificent Seven.
If you want an accurate war movie, The Dirty Dozen.
Yes, or Inglourious Bastards, actually.
Yeah,
that's
my dad did like that one.
Yeah.
How we wish it did. But the things I was going to say is that one of the reasons why Warner Brothers is investing so much money in the Harry Potter TV shows because they see that as being a huge cash cow for them.
Especially after the video game came out, yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna do a huge amount of money. And actually, Dan Zig brings up a very interesting point. Netflix are investing $2.4 billion in South Korean entertainment, which is true.
Lot of sense.
It makes a lot of sense because those shows do really well. They don't cost that much to make,
right?
And it's very cheap for them to buy them. They don't actually have to put any money into producing them. They're already basically done a lot of.
Well, they'll be producing some, but it's not even the shows; it's also the films too. Like I've been watching a ton of South Korean films and movies the last couple of years, and I want more, and I'm actively seeking that stuff out.
What's going to happen though is that there's going to be this one deal for $2.4 billion. They're going to get a shit ton of programming, and then the next time they go to do it, they're going to go, yeah, it's 10 billion now.
Yeah,
because it's going to be the same thing that happened with Japanese animation, where they called me over, they brought Pokemon. I think they sold it for like $1,000 an episode to CW because they'd already made millions, and they wanted it basically on the air to promote the game. And then 2 years later, it's like, yeah, it's now $5,000 an episode.
Well, and Pokemon is now the world's most profitable franchise. It's that I always find that insane. So
Netflix,
so much money.
Completely changed the business model for television animation. Completely.
Yeah. But Netflix has a habit of canceling stuff before it costs too much money.
Right.
So we'll see what happens and how much of that 2.4 billion is stretched. You know, how many series we'll get, how many films we get.
Yeah.
Who do they bring over? Which directors? Which actors? You know.
Well, there's all that business about David Fincher. Have you heard about him doing the US remake of Squid Game?
Yes.
Is that rumor? Or is that?
It's pretty much nailed on now, I think.
And his last movie just got raves from a screening.
Yeah, apparently it's really good. So that's coming to Netflix as well. It's Ben Affleck in that film. The one I think he maybe not actually. Maybe that's another film I'm thinking of. But there definitely is a David Fincher film that's coming out this year on Netflix. And I think the idea is because he's still got this for like this exclusivity deal with Netflix,
right?
So rather than have him work on Mindhunter season 3, it looks like they want him to work. Oh, it's Michael Fassbender. He's the actor I was thinking of, not Ben Affleck. But rather than have him work on Mindhunter season 3, which would again, you're talking about canceling shows before they get too expensive. Mindhunter season 3, I think, probably would have cost them a shit ton of money to make with what David Fincher had in mind,
and all the CGI for bushes.
Yeah. And
we could just put that track someplace else, David. No, we'll take it out. We'll erase it.
So any way to make something more expensive, David Fincher will do. Like, I'm not quite sure about that wall in the background. Do you reckon we could remove it with CGI and just do a new thing? So yeah, fine. Just another couple of million.
Can we remove his mustache, please, with CGI?
Yeah, and they'll do it better.
That always works well.
Yeah. But rather than work on Mindhunter season 3, it looks like Netflix is very interested in having him do Squid Game. And I don't like the idea of US remakes of anything.
You don't need that.
You don't need it. But if Fincher's doing it, I'm a bit more interested because he wouldn't do something unless he really David will fix it. But the thing is, I've heard a lot about how Fincher works on set, and it's not like that at all. No. If it's not perfect, he will redo. He's notorious for doing a huge amount of shoots, like not shoots. What's it called?
Takes.
A huge number of takes. Some actors love it, some actors hate it. I think most hate it.
Let's get him to work. Let's get him to work with Clint 2 Takes Eastwood.
I was going to say that. Yeah.
There's perfect's as good as I get, asshole.
It was. Did Clint Eastwood direct a movie with Jim Carrey in it? Did he ever do a Jim Carrey film?
I can't imagine.
No, you're thinking about that movie where Clint Eastwood was with an ape, orangutan.
Every which way but loose.
Yep.
Oh, Kazakhs comes with so many. David Shooter Fincher. God, man, that's dark.
I think that if Clint Eastwood directing Jim Carrey would end in blood.
But I'm pretty sure I saw Jim Carrey talk about being directed by Clint Eastwood.
No, he just does Clint Eastwood impressions.
Are
you thinking about his story with Tommy Lee Jones from Batman Forever?
Maybe.
Where Jim Carrey went up to Tommy Lee Jones in a restaurant. He's like, "Hey, it's good to see you." And Tommy Lee Jones like, "I just can't stand you. Go away." That's a true story.
Yeah, well, because there's writers write stuff, and then people like Jim Carrey come in like, "I can fix this." Well, you could have sat in the room for 3 months too, to begin with. It's like the Mike Nichols
over actor.
Yeah, the Mike Nichols Robin Williams story where Robin Williams started riffing on the set of World According to Garp, and Nichols just let the film run out, and Williams finally ran out of breath, and Nichols said, "Cut, Robin." Let's try one with the words on the page. What do you say?
That must have been amazing to watch, though. I would like to be there and see him do that. There's no one quite like Robin Williams.
No, that reminds me of Mike Nichols when he was directing Star Trek II: Wrath of Khan, and William Shatner was on the. What's that?
That's not Mike Nichols.
Or is it Newmeyer who directed?
It's
Jonathan
what's
Jonathan
his name?
Meyer.
the guy that wrote the Wrath of Khan is directed by what's his name? Who wrote 7%? Nicholas Meyer.
Okay, yeah. So, anyways, William Shatner's on the bridge, and it's just when he's got his glasses on and he goes fire or something like that, and they did something like 37 takes, and then finally Shatner just got bored and then just gave it like a bored performance, and Meyer's like, "Yep, that's it. That's exactly what I wanted," and it's iconic. That take is iconic in the film.
Yeah.
I like stories like that about directors.
Yeah, there are quite a few, and David Fincher is one of the most interesting, I think, directors working in Hollywood, I'd say. And this I've heard. Well, the one thing I've heard about the Squid Game remake is that it won't really be a remake; it'll more be a version, like kind of a new operation set in the US.
Jesus, just give us Mindhunter season 3.
I know.
Yeah. Just I'm with Edward. I don't understand remaking foreign movies. If you know how to read the subtitles. It's really not that hard.
Talking about
enough. Sorry, Edward. Oh, I'm gonna go watch La Femme Nikita after I record with Shaun after this, and then I'm gonna watch Point of No Return after that. So because I don't remember much of Point of No Return. La Femme Nikita is ingrained in my brain, but I can't wait to watch it again.
You should watch the Renault movie that I mispronounced earlier. Edward corrected me. You should watch it. It's a great movie. Edward, Le Visiteur.
Le Visiteur. Yeah.
Oh, I think I've seen it. Yeah, I think I've seen it.
Yeah. It's a time travel movie.
Yeah, and OSS Saint-Doucet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
What about Wasabi, Shaun? Have you seen Wasabi?
No, I haven't.
It was
have I?
a France co-production with, I believe, Japan. Yeah. And it wasn't that. It was only Luc Besson produced it. It was one of those. But it was pretty fun. Actually, I watched last week. I don't know if you guys seen Heaven's Burning with Russell Crowe.
No.
You said Russell Crowe, so the chances of me watching it have dropped alarmingly.
Really? This is before. Here, let me play the trailer.
I'm acting now. Or
right.
That's a very good Russell Crowe impression.
I love the South Park Russell Crowe fighting around the world.
Yeah, I've never watched. I thought I've watched a lot of Luc Besson stuff, but I've never watched Wasabi.
Yeah, neither have I.
No.
What are you pulling up, James? The trailer?
Yeah.
Umbrella Entertainment. Wow, very nice.
And that was the last time you saw her?
It was the honeymoon.
All she said was that she'd been kidnapped.
I felt sorry for her. Said she hated her husband and she wanted to leave him.
It has a lot to do with the Australian and Japanese commerce back then when they were heavily with each other.
Why are you doing this? I need the money.
I can't just kill her.
He's got Jason Statham's sideburns.
Yeah.
Kick-ass side.
You okay?
Jesus, chap's taking over heaven too.
Did it?
What is the saying? An eye for an eye, a hand for a hand. I want the heart.
I know why you're laughing. It's not funny. It's great.
The beginning.
I don't want to go back. Now I know what love is. Real love is.
To real love what I feel for you.
You don't know what love is.
They don't make movies like that anymore.
No, when films are shot on film, and the writing is fantastic. The atmosphere, the way it's directed, the slow pacing, and I couldn't find it, but you can find it on archive.org. I finally found it on archive.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I couldn't I wasn't gonna wait like a month for it to ship from overseas, but I finally found it, and I watched it last week. It's so good. I remember watching it when I was in film school way back in the day, and yeah, it's before Romper Stompers Danzig. Yeah, definitely is one of his first films.
But
definitely seek it out. Definitely watch it. Edward, you like The Long Goodbye, so you would like this. It's not like The Long Goodbye, but you like my recommendations. So
I'm just thinking they don't edit trailers like that anymore either.
You know what I watched? Talking remakes, what I watched over the weekend was Mean Machine. The British remake of The Longest Yard.
Oh, how was it?
It wasn't as funny as I remembered it being, but I really liked it a lot.
There was a French film that was very famous called Dîner des Cons, and it was remade into an American movie with
Dinner with Schmucks.
Dinner with Schmucks or Dinner for Schmucks.
Yeah. The French version is hilarious.
It's very funny. It's like one of those French movies where actually French humor works because it's about someone being a complete dick, and that's basically what French people are. They're just mean. Apart from that, it's like, we've noticed this a lot about the French. Is that their brand of humor is just very mean, and it works sometimes. Most of the time, it doesn't.
Yeah,
it's a very unique brand of humor, but it works very well in that movie, and it just did not work. It did not work. The Dinner for Schmucks film did not work. It was such a poor remake with Paul Rudd.
Well, anyways, Heaven's Burning, so good, and you guys definitely got to go check it out.
Heaven's Burning.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes. I'm actually writing it down.
Good. You too, Edward. You should watch it this weekend.
It's our assignment.
That's your assignment.
Your homework
next Tuesday. What's that?
Your homework for this week.
Yes.
It looked a bit like an episode of what's it called, the Home and Away or the Neighbors, where they're trying to be a bit dark.
No, it's more in the vein of.
I'm joking, by the way.
Oh, okay. It's from the era of Desperado. Why can't I remember that name now? Christian Slater. Tony Scott directed it.
Christian Slater, Tony Scott directed.
Tarantino wrote it. Come on. Someone in the chat. Danzig will know. No?
Quentin Tarantino wrote the film.
Yeah. This is
True Romance.
That's it.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Danzig. Yeah, it's more in that vein. When it came out, or like,
I've never seen that movie.
You should go watch it.
I need to watch True Romance. Yeah. There's a lot of films I need to see.
When the films were shot on film, that's what I miss. I miss that era of like 78 to 96 to 98, maybe push it to 2000 when like you had that nice film gritty look like they had with Hard Boiled or like any John Woo film. Stuff like that,
or any John Carpenter film as well. Like I was watching the film I watched the other day. Was Assault on Precinct 13.
Love that movie.
Was his version, not the. It's so good.
The ice cream truck opening and just the way the use of the music builds up the suspense.
It kind of feels like they're shooting on 16 millimeter, even when they're doing 32.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there was a film that was a bit like that came out. Was it last year? The Cop Shop. We interviewed that was quite good actually.
We had the writer on.
We had the writer on, yeah. But I have to say, like talking about the state of Hollywood today, they don't make films like that anymore.
Studios don't. Studios aren't interested in anything other than $100 million films now.
Yeah,
that's their whole business model.
I do think that the more interesting stuff is being made for TV.
Yeah.
So
we got to go watch Atlanta.
Yeah, so it's like stuff like Atlanta. I even think The White Lotus is really interesting filmmaking.
Deadwood.
And writing. Deadwood was really good. Like one of the shows that I really loved was Justified, and that's coming back again. And that was really that. These shows to me feel a bit more like those movies of like the 80s and 90s and early 2000s that were being made in the 70s and 80s, 90s. It's just it doesn't seem to be happening anymore. Yeah, people are talking a lot about Barry and Succession.
Barry is amazing. My God.
Yeah. Barry's really good.
That's where the interesting stuff is.
And it's great that he's, turning to directing, because he directed a bunch of those episodes last season and they were all great.
And he's directing every episode this season.
Is he?
Yeah. The final
Bill
season.
Hader. Yeah.
And then he said he might do a horror film, which I'm a bit disappointed about. But
why?
It's like I just think horror is such an easy genre to go to.
Really?
Well, the studio will release it on a lower budget. That's really true.
So it's safe, and but if it's in the vein of something like Nope, or The Conjuring, or something like where it's thriller, but hopefully with him there's a little bit of comedy aspect to it. But I just think like all the directors before they go and do their big major films, they usually start off in horror, and because it's cheap to make, and I just think it's such a safe genre. And I was hoping that he would go off and do something. I was hoping like Bill Hader's films when they come out would be like event films, kind of like Tarantino's films when they come out. You're all excited for. It's something different and something unique. And that's what I'm hoping from what is shown from his work on Barry. What I'm hoping for. And I'm not knocking the horror genre at all. I'm not a fan of horror. It's a few films like Nope. If you can consider that horror, that's fine. I really enjoyed that. Atlanta, a lot of the episodes were horror based, and I enjoyed that. Donald Glover's new show, I can't remember the name right now, but it's horror, and I'm going to watch that. But like the slashing and the gore horror, that's not for me. And I just think
that's very much down my street.
Yeah, see, it's just like because I'm like, look at that practical effect, or look at that CGI, or is this entertaining? I'm gonna watch a bunch of people get killed. I want the pretext, the context first. I want that build up. Like if you've seen Death Proof, right, Edward?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So everything they talk about in that film, leading up to that final act, is foreshadowing. Like you don't get it the first time you watch it, but the second time you watch, like, oh, okay, is that being mentioned, and then that happens, blah blah blah, that kind of thing. And that's why I like Death Proof a lot more than Planet Terror. Even though those are they're both horror, but two different separate genres of horror. That's why I'm thinking it's just I think it'll be more unique with Bill Hader directing. But I just think it's like even like the Evil Dead Rise. I haven't seen the trailer yet. I'm gonna wait till the movie comes out. I got spoiled for something in it today, which I was quite upset. Always check with spoilers with me first if I've seen it. But Evil Dead 2 I like more than Evil Dead 1 because there's more comedy, and then Army of Darkness is my favorite one because it's more of a fantastical adventure. But I just think the horror genre.
I'm the other way around. I'm a much bigger fan of Evil Dead 2 and Evil Dead than Army of Darkness.
No.
Yeah, but I understand. I understand how. But what I do think the horror genre is an interesting way to break into the industry.
I don't think he needs that though. That's the thing.
No, I agree with you. I think he's obviously shown that he's a very capable director, and not.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't cast horror off as being something that is just that. It's.
I just explained for 5 minutes.
I know.
I don't think it's just that, right?
I know.
But it's subculture genre. Yeah.
Yeah. But it is interesting to see how many directors, like Marvel picks, for instance, that have started off in the horror genre. I mean, it was Scott Derrickson, James Gunn. Who was the other one? John Watts. His first movie was a thriller type movie, not really a horror movie, but Nia DaCosta. Her first film was the Candyman reboot. So yeah,
it's horror, but it's also what they can do with a lower budget.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and they used to, directors used to be afraid if they made a horror film or wrote a horror film, you get trapped in that genre, and that seems to be loosening up some.
Yeah. Yeah. People seem to be more willing to accept people from the horror genre to make. I mean, look, James Wan is making actually all of them. Andy Muschietti, massive horror director before making The Flash.
Except Peyton Reed. He did a bunch of cheerleader dance movies before he made Ant-Man.
Yeah, that's true. It's true.
And look how Ant-Man 3 turned out.
Yeah, one of the worst rated Marvel movies of all time.
Did you see it yet, Shaun?
No.
Speaking of Marvel directors, Edward, you put out an article today.
Yeah. So Kevin Feige is looking to hire more big name directors for the future Marvel movies.
No.
This is where Martin Scorsese comes in.
No. They need to go back. They need to go back to what they were doing and make oddball choices that work. They need to find Jon Favreau and Robert Downey Jr. and Paul Rudd and Edgar Wright. Yeah, James Gunn and people like that, and say, here's a property, go crazy, come back.
Yeah, I agree, but it seems as though he's kind of wanting to release, like, let go the strings a bit and not be so in control. And
maybe like it's frustrating to rein in those directors and for the mold, for the Marvel formula. But don't you think like he might have more trouble with big name directors?
Yeah. Also it's just going to be dull. It's going to be seeing things that you saw before. Yeah. The great thing about Marvel when the movie started coming out was like, holy crap, nobody's actually done this before.
Well, when they say big name directors, though, I wonder whether they mean more experienced directors. So people that, not people that have been, this is like their second or third movie, people that have been working in the industry for a long time, almost like workman-like directors, like Louis Leterrier, people like that like he's literally just been given the next Fast and Furious movie, hasn't he? So
Die Hard
4. We're going to get Richard Donner out of his cryogenic sleep.
Well, I think that's more what they meant in that report. I think that came from Jeff Snyder, actually. But like even the idea of bringing someone like Sam Raimi in to direct Doctor Strange 2
needed more Raimi.
But that's a weird choice. It's like bringing in this guy who's known for these oddball little horror movies, smaller horror movies, and giving him a huge superhero picture.
Yeah, and whose big movies did not work, like the Oz movie. Yeah, that movie did not work.
And the first two Spider-Men worked great.
Yeah.
So let him play over here.
But I wonder whether he might be going down that road.
See, I like the trauma films from the 80s and the 90s, just because they know what they are.
Yeah,
and that's a subgenre of horror I can get on board with, because you know what you're in for, and it's goofy and it's fun, and you have surf Nazis and they must die.
Starring Brandon Cruz from The Courtship of Eddie's Father.
Danzig talks about Kraven being R-rated. This is Sony doing everything they can to make. We need something to work. Not every movie they make can be Morbius.
What do you want? What do you want? Lots of blood.
Is the catchphrase going to be "It's Kraven time"?
It's Kraven time.
I'm craving some blood.
Oh God! This is why AI will never work, because it can't come up with something like that. You see, but yeah, that's the new thing, is that's going to be R-rated. Which honestly, I just they're like the kind of kid in the class that's too try hard, that they'll try and please the teacher all the time. Yeah.
It's a group project, but Mary's got it all done by herself by Thursday afternoon.
Yes, and Saggy Melons is in the chat. Yes, we did.
Yeah, we talked about the Flash trailer at the beginning.
Yeah.
We even had screenshots.
Yeah, it was very professional. Yeah.
Very professional on StreamYard.
Yeah.
We talked about the Flash trailer after we talked about Edward's Wi-Fi problems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
you can get the replays.
I think we've got our priorities in the right place.
Yes.
We take care of each other, and then we make fun of movies.
On the positive small screen show.
That's right. How's Edward's Wi-Fi? James, you shaved. Shaun, you're wearing a Captain America shirt again.
Next week I gotta wear mine then.
And then Fat Flash trailer.
Yeah. Which looks good. That does look good. And that comes from a director who not only directed horror, but also I would say is an experienced director. Having directed the 2 It movies.
Saggy, is that Henry Cavill?
Look at
the neck. That's Henry Cavill. Come on. Cavill. That's him. You
can convince yourself all you want, and then you're just going to be disappointed when you go and see the movie.
I won't care. I'm just saying it looks like him. I'm not like invested if that's him as Superman or not.
You'll be straight on Twitter after having seen the movie, being like, "I can't believe they didn't have Henry Cavill in the movie.
I'm boycotting this movie. I'm boycotting WB.
Hashtag
boycott. Go to SnyderCon and hold up a sign that says boycott WB."
I got my look at his neck in the trailer, and he wasn't in the movie, and now I'm mad. Bring back the Snyderverse.
God.
They had the best necks.
They had the best necks and the best biceps.
The best mustache removal.
Best mustache. That wasn't the Snyderverse. That was the Whedonverse. That was the Justice League.
Justice League.
Yes, the Justice League. That'll be known for something. Yes, but anyway, so the state of Hollywood today is kind of shit.
Yeah, just like the world. Yeah,
I don't know what you guys are hearing, but over here they're talking. Streamers are going to commercials now, so congratulations, you've reinvented broadcast television.
Yeah, a cable package.
Yeah,
pretty soon you'll be able to get Netflix, Amazon, Disney Plus, and Paramount Plus all in one bundle for a low price of $70.
That's the only thing that makes sense.
Yeah, but then we're right back where we came from.
But we're not happy with it now. But cable at least worked for a long time.
Everyone's just going to start pirating. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah. As if they're not doing that already.
No, but I mean like the mainstream people. Yeah. If you want to get rich, buy stock in VPNs. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. Although I've noticed now the VPN that I use that it is somehow the VPN I use to stream things, because you have a Netflix subscription, you should be able to stream whatever's on Netflix, right?
Hey,
no matter
what. I pay for Disney Plus. I pay for Netflix. I should be able to download these things.
I do.
That's my logic.
I pay for all these things, but when I was watching The Rookie the other day, I got to the end of an episode, right at the beginning, right before the episode ended. It goes, "We have noticed that you are using a VPN. This is against our rules and regulations. Blah 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 blah. Please switch off your VPN now." It wouldn't let me play the bloody thing. And I was
you watching on like CBS website or something?
No, I was
ABC.
I was watching
ABC.
Netflix on my iPad, which James, I watch everything on my iPad.
Yeah.
And
were you watching McDonald's? Like when you watch Hawkeye?
No,
episode 3?
I don't spend all my time in McDonald's, James. I'm very rarely in a McDonald's. It was the one time.
I just wanted you to say McDonald's.
What is it?
It reminds me of Coming to America with Eddie Murphy, where there's McDonald's and then there's McDonald's down the street.
Yeah.
Is it not? Do I say it wrong? It's McDonald's. Is that
they say McDonald's in the States.
Yeah, it's Henry Cavill.
And MAC and MC are pronounced differently pronounced the same way. Excuse me, in the States.
Guys, where did that originate from, though? I believe the first person in his name was from Scotland. No,
or are we having like a Mandela moment with like Berenstain and Berenstain Bears?
Well, isn't it the difference between Irish and Scottish Gaelic, and MAC is son of in Scottish and MC is son of in.
God, here we go. just call this the Small Screen History Channel.
Yeah, we should.
Let's go talk about some hill. Yeah, you guys want to talk about a hill again?
What's a grassy knoll?
Back and to the left. Back and to the left.
Chill, Winston.
Oh god, that was the Guy Ritchie movie. That was Lock, Stock.
Yeah, great film.
Fat Thirst.
You know we're getting towards the end when.
Yeah. Go on. What's he gonna?
How do you think this has stood the test of time?
Things will never be the same because the hierarchy of power in the DC universe is about to change.
Well, yeah, he's right because James Gunn is in charge now, so the hierarchy of DC universe has changed.
Yeah, because he screwed up. He screwed up Black Adam. And
he didn't know that he was that he was right, but he was getting a big surprise.
I love how you cut the wink out at the end. You know, he has his trademark wink at the end of that thing. Honestly, yeah. So the power of the DC universe has changed. And you're not in it anymore, Dwayne.
Skyscraper 3, Dwayne. Skyscraper 3.
No, it's going to be the power of the Disney live-action universe is changed. They just turn into Liam Neeson in the end. All my low voice.
So are any of his representatives talking to him and going, "All right, you screwed the pooch with Fast and Furious. We understood that. Now you've pissed off Warner Brothers. So where are you going, Dwayne, to make those kind of movies you make? Oh, back to Disney. Okay.
Yeah. That's probably exactly what happened. Yep. I bet you. Right on the phone to Bob Iger. The minute Bob Iger came back into the frame.
Yeah.
Pretty sure he was on the phone.
Yeah, Dan, that's what I said. He's back to Disney. So
back to Disney. Comes up with some story about how that thing really pissed me off. Watching that video of his when he's announcing the live action Moana movie.
A lot of people are upset about that. I don't understand why.
Because it's the state of Hollywood today. It's rubbish.
Yeah. That's why you don't watch Hollywood films.
It feels like it's
a big world.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. You have absolutely right.
But James, I don't speak Chinese and I don't read subtitles.
Really? Really?
I do read subtitles.
Okay, good, because I was just about to.
Yes. All right.
He went to Bob Iger's office. James Gunn was mean to me, and I went and talked to his boss. I don't want to play Black Adam anymore anyway.
Yeah, I think that's...
It's great because Shaun hasn't seen all these.
That's the IT crowd. Anyway, I think we should end it there because I think you guys have got some work to do after this show, and we've been going on for 1 hour 40 minutes now, and it's mainly been internet talk.
Yeah.
So.
Flash, savior of the universe.
That takes me back.
If you want a 200-pound man that laughs like a 10-year-old girl, I'm your guy.
Did you ever hear Edward's Amber Heard rant?
Oh God.
No.
All right. We'll do that and then we'll sign off. If I can find it here.
I hope everybody enjoyed this because we sure as shit did.
Yeah, it's gonna be hell on the podcast, but people in the chat do miss this stuff. No, Danzig, I deleted the romantic clip of Edward just to make him feel better.
I've expunged it from the universe. No, but actually, what
I know that if it does feel like this is me kind of shitting all over Amber Heard, but I will say one thing about one thing about that nightmare sequence. One thing about the nightmare sequence.
Not shitting on you.
She might shit on your bed first though.
She's terrible in that scene. She's terrible in it. And what I will defeat all people, and then she's going around with 2 bloody boxes of water. I'm like, so you're only useful if you carry around 2 bloody boxes of water in a fucking nightmare.
But she's wearing the shit out of that suit though, son.
Yeah, that's not an excuse. Her character in that scene is useless.
That's not an excuse. I love that.
Is that Aquaman you're talking about, Edward?
Yeah.
It's, Amber Heard.
Yeah,
Amber Heard in Zack Snyder's Justice League, where she turns up in that. Not only does she turn up with 2 boxes of water in that nightmare sequence, she's also got, for some reason, an English accent, which she didn't have in any.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Yeah. I remember you telling me that before.
And it annoyed me so much. That whole scene annoyed me so much.
Well, if you want to annoy Edward, you start with an American doing an English accent, and then that's A1. Then you find a performer that he really doesn't like to begin with, and then you put it in a movie he hates, and then there's gonna be 5 years of talking about that.
The thing is, I did not hate Zack Snyder's Justice League. I just thought, out of the 4 hours, that scene really angered me because of her involvement. Like, it was just so. I was like, what was the decision making process? It's like who was on set and thought that was fine? Like, what's the point of her character being in that scene in a world where there's no water in this world? Otherwise, she wouldn't be carrying around 2 boxes of water. So what happens the minute it all runs out? It's like just some dumb bimbo. It's just with a fake English accent.
There you go, Danzig.
All right, on that bombshell, let's end the show. Because I thought you deleted that. You lied. You lied.
I just uploaded it.
No matter where you go, there you are. It's okay with me.
Do you want to do a sign off, or are we done?
I think we're good. You can follow us in Full Screen Co. You can follow Shaun.
Cheap Jack Shakes.
Cheap Jack Shakes, Instagram and Twitter.
And if you fancy following James,
if you want to, which I don't think you should, but it's 42cut.com. Yep.
There you go.
But he might make a romantic video of you.
Yeah.
And if you send me footage like that, you know what's going to happen.
He asks for it like 2:00 in the morning. He's like, "Can you send me a footage of you winking at the camera? I'm in bed."
Oh, okay, the story keeps changing. Yeah.
It doesn't change. That's the story. It's been the same. All right, guys. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next week.
Thank
Bye.
you.